All right, and welcome back. So today I'm going to show how we can use the principles from our efficiency lecture in how we write our post-operative notes. So this is a case that I just finished here. You'll actually see the video on the channel pretty shortly. And I have up the main program here. I'm using TDO. This is release 12.3. And what I have open here is the organizer. So we can get to that by clicking this button right here. That'll bring up our organizer. And this is where all our different images are going to be stored. So you can see we have the pre-op images, we have the bite wing, we have kind of the images that I draw on to show the patients, and then we have the photos that I took. So at this point we're done and I need to write my note. So let's start off by the first thing we're going to do is edit these photos. And when I edit them, mostly what I'm looking to do is zoom in. So I'm going to use that crop tool, kind of get something that looks about the same and just get rid of any extraneous information. I always like to press this auto button. That'll just kind of fix the histogram if there's anything, because you're zooming in slightly on here, and go ahead and click save. This is also the time where you can adjust the color if there's, or sorry, the brightness. That would be this button right here that does it. Most of the time I find that the gamma function works best in TDO to get you exactly what you need. This photo looks good, so most of the time, as long as you're not super zoomed in, you should be fine for that. Go ahead and press the auto. One thing you'll notice is I'm pressing the save as button. The reason why is if you hit save, it is going to overwrite that initial image, and if you accidentally need more of it, or if there's not enough information, whatever it may be, you can't go back and fix it. I do keep all of the originals on the acquisition machines in the room, but that's a big hassle to go back and find them. So you want to make sure you're clicking save as. Every now and then I'll click save and that does kind of screw it up. So okay, so at this point we have our nice images. They all look good. So let's go into how we do the final report. So you will hear me typing in the background here. Everyone has their own way, but you want to kind of have as many shortcuts as possible. So if I'm going to be starting off with this, I will be able to use a shortcut under autocorrect. So if I just type TY, it immediately writes thank you referring. We're going to go ahead and put her name in there, but I'm going to blur that out. And I also forgot what her name is because I hit it. All right, there we go. And we'll blur that out. Cool. Now, in this case, it's pretty straightforward. So I have shortcuts for everything. So for this one, I'm going to start by talking about how I remove the carries. And so I have a shortcut, and I like to designate all my shortcuts with a front slash like here. I'll show you in a minute what that looks like under the autocorrect. But front slash carries now becomes I remove the carries and expose the pulp as expected. Very easy. At this point, I'm going to write in how many canals we had. And there you go. That shortcut is, because I say this every single time, canals were clean, shaped, and operated with thermoplasticized gutta percha. Now, I have this macro note, and these are all the different macro notes I have available to me. At this point, this dentist wants me to do a temporary, so I'm going to click my temporary button, as you can see what it says there. I'm going to tell him that he needs to see her back, and then I'm going to say thank you. So even with me talking, that took probably less than a minute. Now, you'll see this space over here that has all the prognosis, who referred to, restorative recommendations. There's a lot you can put in here, but how TDO works is it's by access. It's access. It's a database. And so when you put this in here, you put your prognosis is good. You put the doc in there. By the way, one key thing, use keyboard shortcuts here. So start typing their last name and it'll pop it up very quickly for you. And then put what you need, in this case, a composite and a crown. And we're done. So we're gonna now hit our letters button. And yes, my screen really is this wide. This is the 49-inch Dell. I absolutely love this big old beast. So what we are now going to do is get into our letters module. So you can see it's already put Word in here, and I have a bunch of templates. So at this point, I'm going to click on the one that says Final Report Treatment. What that's now going to do is put together all the information, the patient name, our diagnosis, everything in there. So at this point, you can see it's almost done. I just need to put in some pictures and make sure everything looks good. So in this case, when I don't have that fourth picture, what I'm going to do as my extra one here is put in the bite wing. So the dentist has that information as well. And then very quickly, we can just go in. If you do accidentally put it in here, just go ahead and undo that. And you want to click where it says click pick picture, click on your image, and that will drop it in automatically for you very easy to get that looking good. And at this point, the report is pretty much ready to be sent. Always hit the F7 button, make sure the spelling is done, and that you don't leave any, grammatical errors. In this one, it was because her name was there, so I'm just going to ignore that so we look good. If you do, however, have words that you constantly type incorrectly, make sure you add that to autocorrect. What will then happen is if you have an issue with if you type something incorrectly, it will actually fix it even as you're doing the final report, which is nice. And then you click save and send now. A little error is going to come up because even though I've asked TDO multiple times, I still haven't been able to fix that, and off it goes. And that is how we do our notes. So not a long time whatsoever. Most of it was me talking, but in less than a few minutes. Most of the time it takes me about 90 seconds to get my final reports done. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So how do we find this? What you're going to go into, if you have TDO, is you go into setup, go to program setup, and notice here it says autocorrect options. If you've ever used Microsoft, well, you can see this is your autocorrect option here. If you look at all of the different slashes I have here, here are all the different things that I'm able to type out. I have the diagnoses all ready to go, and this makes it so that you can almost have, and this is one way that if you don't have a system like this, you can actually become a lot more efficient writing your notes as well. So as always, if you have any questions, go ahead and drop a comment below. Otherwise, thank you so much, and I'll talk to you next time.